Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are, whoever you might happen to be. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the nerd news show in which we take a look at news items that would be of interest to people in nerd fandoms that have happened over the past week since the last show. And it's brought to you by us, the folks here at Nerd Caliber. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. First-person shooter on Facebook as a cosplay photographer, and I'm doing that like I forget my name, which I don't, but... and Burley_adopter on Twitter. Joining me tonight is let's start with Byron. Introduce yourself if you would.
Hello guys, Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0, live from the Grand Line.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's a reference to nothing in the show, folks. We were talking about an anime prior, so those.
Yes. Yeah, so contributing writer, social media dude, content creator on a number of fronts. And if you like art, especially cool fan art, you should check out some of the stuff that I do on the interwebs. I have a YouTube channel where I do art commentary. That is Byron D0, BYRONDZERO, and also stuff on Instagram.
And Instagram, it's exactly the same thing, except then with the word art after it, correct?
BDZEROART.
BD0art. Thank you very much. And also joining us tonight, Gogo, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. Long time contributor to Nerd Caliber. Always happy to be here. Vaccinated and really happy to get back to the cons with my mask. Double mask, triple mask, whatever mask I need, it's going to be built into my costume. Maskarama. And I can't wait to be back. Here's where you can find me in the meantime. You can go on to nerdcaliber.com you can go to the YouTube, so you can find me there. You can just go and go incognito. You're gonna find some stuff. You're gonna be like, oh. You're gonna, yeah, that's me.
All right, Gogo, I'm going to actually correct myself from a minute ago. Your video is really locking up. I'm going to ask that you log back into Zoom.
Okay.
And I will just sort of bebop around that while you're doing it.
Guys, I'm back. Bye.
Cool. All right, and while Gogo is doing that, folks, we are going to say hello to some of you that are already in the chat. Player 3 and Player 1, hi, welcome to the show. Sarah Stone, sup, back at you, and welcome to the show. And that's on the YouTubes. I don't think we got anybody over in the Twitch or Facebook chats yet. All right, cool beans. If you have any questions, folks, about any of the stuff that we're bringing up here, if we know the answer, we'll tell you. If we don't know the answer, we'll probably lie. I mean, we'll probably tell you we don't know the answer. So feel free to ask and or make your own comments about some of these topics that we're going to be bringing up tonight. There's a lot of them. Some of them are kind of controversial. There's some drama going on out there, folks. And a lot of them are just sort of, very interesting, nerdy sort of bits of news that have popped up. I am really having a hard time thinking of things to say before jumping into our first topic while I wait for Gogo. I want to correct also, I made a mistake earlier when you don't know this, but when I said we were talking about an anime earlier, what's that behind Byron? Well, there you go, Byron.
There we go. That is a replica of the Thousand Sunny, the second ship that the Straw Hat Pirate crew sails around the world on in the anime manga One Piece.
There we go. And my goof, which nobody knows because you wouldn't get that, is that he said the Grand Line, and we had been talking about the anime The Last Exile earlier, which is the Grand Stream. So that's why when I said, oh yeah, we were talking about an anime, I was wrong. He was referencing his background image.
Yes. Which is a great series if you haven't had a chance to check it out.
And if you've got a lot of time.
Yeah, because 26 episodes is a large commitment these days, huh?
How many episodes?
26, I believe.
26 episodes in One Piece?
Oh no! I know no. I mean of no. I'm talking about Last Exile.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. They're 26, I believe. You're right, or 25.
Yes,
100 and or
100. Right, right.
how many
It's
episodes?
900, 900 or so.
There you go. So, folks, if you really want to do something um, with a lot of empty time on your hands, go start the One Piece anime,
Or
and
you can read
then
the.
start the manga.
I was gonna say, or you can read the manga, which is over 1,000 chapters.
Exactly. Sarah, who had asked that question, holy S blank, that is cool. Oh, whoa. So thank you for the ooh. Go-Go seems to be having a hard time reconnecting here, and folks, I hate to do this, but we got a lot of topics, so we're going to jump right into it, and then hopefully when Go-Go gets back, we'll be able to get her back onto some of these topics. And unfortunately, one of the first ones is one of the big controversy ones, so... Yeah, so the news out there, we covered this last week. Of course, California sued Activision Blizzard for horrible harassment workplace violations, which, as we mentioned last week, is if a state or federal agency decides to sue you, it has incontrovertible proof. They don't take cases like this unless they believe they can win them. Blizzard, which went out and, sort of, Sarah is correcting us for mispronouncing OO as UU. You are correct. Our bad. They sort of paid lip service to supporting a walkout of their own employees, guaranteeing that there would be no repercussions, etc. And then they went and hired the famous East Coast law firm, co-headquartered in Washington, D.C., and right here in Boston. Most of us are in the greater Boston area. Mintz Levin. And Mintz Levin is known for being the firm that Amazon hired to make sure that unions didn't happen. For myself, this is kind of a surprise and kind of a problem. I worked in technology industry in the Boston area, covering it for a long time. And we worked, I'm sorry, not Mintz Levin, Wilmer Hale. God, the folks at Mintz Levin are going to sue me now because they're lawyers.
Oh, no.
Anyway, Wilmer Hale, and we worked with them closely because they have a very strong tech intellectual property division. And I don't recall any sort of union, not busting, but, keeping the unions from happening kind of work on their end. Now, maybe I just never touched on that, but that just didn't seem to be anything that, they took on. Now, they do have apparently a record of some pretty conservative stuff, but also some really pretty liberal stuff.
Have they worked with like the likes of Walmart as well? Because I know they have I know places like them and Home Depot also have a similar stance on unionization.
I don't know that Wilmer Hale worked with them. I don't see this in the article, and that didn't come up in any of my research on what they're doing.
All right, I was just curious.
But they've had some pretty rough accusations of their own. In particular, the Wilmer side of this. So it's a merger of two firms, Hale and Dorr here in Boston, and Wilmer Cutler Pickering based out of D.C. And apparently, Wilmer Cutler and Pickering, according to this article, represented Swiss banks accused of profiting from the Holocaust. So
what the fish?
Law firms take clients who can pay, but that's kind of nasty. There are other things that just broke earlier today. And that is one of the only two people named in this suit in addition to Activision Blizzard, and that is the president of Blizzard. I'm going to get his name wrong if I don't bring up the article, so I should probably have that right in front of me and have it already up here while I scroll down. J. Allen Brack is stepping down, according to press releases and statements from both Blizzard and Activision.
Yes, the captain doesn't want to go down with the ship, huh?
Or the overarching company, Activision, wants somebody to go down with the ship, and he's the one. So, this is going to get nastier and nastier, folks. So.
And I'm looking forward to hearing commentary from the likes of Jim Stephanie Sterling, because this is going to be juicy. And I mean, I doubt we'll see any kind of prolific change within the gaming industry after this, because greed is the name of the game.
It depends on if any other states follow suit, or if any other companies, get also sued by California. You can pretty much bet that any of the companies based in Texas are not going to get sued by their state, because it's EA. Texas. Yeah. But, California could come after Riot.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, we can forget about Ubisoft getting attacked, because
right.
They're not even an American company.
Right. And, the French government so far has not seemed particularly interested in, bringing any sort of action against them. So.
Well, they're not really known for playing the microtransaction game either.
Ubisoft? Yeah.
Not
true.
as much.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
And we're also not going to see Japan doing the same thing with Konami either, because
well, just to be clear, we're talking about let's not in any way, shape, or form conflate any other problematic practices like microtransactions and that with this lawsuit.
Oh no! Oh yeah, absolutely not.
Because by hey, Gogo's back! Yay!
Hello!
Oh my gosh! Thank you. That was a hot minute where I didn't know what to do.
Well, we got you back, and that's the important part.
So we're in the middle of the discussion about Activision Blizzard hiring Wilmer Hale, the firm that was hired by Amazon to stop unions from happening, to be one of their defense firms, essentially, in this lawsuit by California. And the fact that it just broke today that Blizzard president J. Allen Brack is quitting, stepping down. Fingers crossed that more states step up, or California steps up and gets more companies involved in this.
I mean, we already established, we can forget it. I wouldn't get my hopes up with Texas going after EA, because
it's Texas.
Where's CD Projekt Red located out of?
Poland.
Ooh, yeah, that's not going to happen.
We've already also seen a whole bunch of memes out of Texas, like nope, like doubling down, and like here we are, like doing all these things, and then people in other places being like, here's how you don't Blizzard. It's called Final Fantasy.
It's true, and you can lay an awful lot of blame or accuse Japanese development companies of a lot of things, but most of them are overwork and bad work conditions. The kind of at work harassment, drinking, boys club 1960s, Mad Men kind of garbage that Blizzard is accused of credibly by lots of women would not fly in Japan.
Nope.
Afterward?
Nope.
At the bars?
Absolutely.
Sure. But that's one thing, that does not happen or is not allowed. That's a line that does not get crossed in Japan for the most part.
I mean, and never mind French culture in companies like Activision and EA and CD Projekt Red and so on and so forth.
Right. And like I said before, there's so many horrible things you can lay at the feet of, game development companies: crunch culture, overwork, underpay, the microtransactions, preying on the neurodivergent and gambling addicted people, all of that sort of stuff. Let's make absolutely sure that we don't conflate any of those with this lawsuit, which is about a sexually harassing workplace environment that was allowed to not just exist but was fostered. So, yeah, this is garbage, and nothing is going to change your opinion out there about whether or not you should support any of these companies. And it's easy for me. I've never played Overwatch. I haven't played World of Warcraft in a decade. No, probably not that, but close to it. Diablo, no. There isn't anything in Blizzard Activision that I care about at this point. So it's really easy for me to say I'm not going to buy any of their games anymore.
Well, I mean, I have Crash Bandicoot already, so
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's a very popular game. It's it doesn't seem to be tied into a lot of the other garbage stuff that Blizzard is accused of. But don't go out and buy the next one. Mm-hmm. So
I haven't touched Overwatch in a while either. So
nope. Overwatch, when Rodney, I was up with you. We were doing PAX like a long time ago, and Overwatch was there. And I had so many friends who were like the Overwatch people and the hairdressers and all that stuff. And I was like, this is so great. And so that's the whole reason why I tried to play it, where again, I got so bored.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't like the game, obviously don't play it. But I would recommend that anybody out there, please do not do anything to support Activision or Blizzard until things really, really change, demonstrably so, not just glad-handing like Ubisoft is saying things are changing and nothing is changing. But I would also, don't support Ubisoft. Sorry, I'm not going to pick up, I didn't, and even when it gets on some sort of super good sale, now I'm not going to pick up Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Just not going to do it.
Nope.
And League, don't support Riot. Riot was the first game company to have this level of accusation, and for whatever reason, sadly, California hasn't gone after them.
Riot's definitely been on a lot of people's radars with regards to that controversy. And I'm just surprised that it's kind of just fizzled into the background.
Yep.
But I'm with you on that, Rodney. We need to hold places like this accountable, because we should we need more your workspace needs to be a safe space. Yes. There's no two ways about it.
Yep. For everybody, and not just for white frat boy type guys who like to day drink and harass women. Anyway, moving on. Although honestly, Sterling Archer is kind of the guy who would be somebody who is accused of all of this stuff, and yet it's played for comedy and done tastefully and well. The trailer for season 12 of Archer just dropped, and it looks really interesting. It looks like they become, I guess, apparently eco warriors, trying to save the planet, which, as you can imagine, with the Archers is not going to go that well. It looks great. It ends with a bit between, I think it's Krieger and Mallory. And this is, of course, going to be the last time that we hear her voice in this show.
Who's?
Jessica.
Oh, yeah. Jessica.
Yes.
Walters, of
Yes.
course.
And so it's going to be a tough season to watch.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna be tuning in. I haven't been the biggest Archer fan. I kind of got onto it late, so I missed a bit of it. But I gotta see her swan song.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be very, very sad. So, um, but let's see. Let me now that I brought that up, I should actually have it up here as to when this is going to drop. In August, 22nd. Is that why is that that date? 25th. So it's on FXX, which means it'll be on FX on Hulu if you've got Hulu the next day.
And if you are looking for a return to Archer as you have known it since before the whole Archer coma, trying not to spoiler, but it's been a few years. Archer coma, no stuff. You're gonna see costumes that you love with characters that you love, doing things that you love, but a little bit more informed, okay?
Yep.
So we know that, and it's going to be great. So we don't know if this is the send-off, do we?
Well, they haven't said that this is the end of the series.
But we are saying goodbye to Mama in the Sky, a woman who I absolutely want to be, and that is Jessica Walter.
I'm glad you made that clear and not Mallory Archer, because I'm like, really? Mother of the Year, Mallory Archer?
I can open my own Cobb salad, but thank you very much.
Oh God, she is basically the maternal version of Rick Sanchez.
No, I also boo hiss. You are taking that low, my friend. Jessica Walter, she's an amazing actress. She portrayed this even through cancer, and she did it well. It's great to see them back. If you just watch this, you're going to see Pam looking like Pam and Cheryl looking like Cheryl, and correct.
Yep.
What happens is probably not always going to be correct, because it wouldn't be Archer if it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Correct. Yeah. As in the sense of politically correct, is generally not something that gets applied to Archer.
No.
All right, since we do have so many things to cover here, we're moving on to a bunch of mostly quickies. So this just dropped as the season 3 of Snowpiercer on TNT wrapped up filming. They announced that they have renewed it for a season 4.
Ooh.
So obviously we don't know exactly when that'll drop. I would assume that production schedules are going to be more back to normal now that a lot of the COVID stuff is over. Please get vaccinated, wear a mask so that a lot of the COVID stuff can be over.
And
I really want to go back to cons, folks. I really do.
Yeah.
Luminous.
Like the majority of it is over. I'm sorry. Call me, be like, oh, boo, hiss that woman. Oh no, sorry, guys. Here's a whole nother thing.
Yep. Luminous, welcome back to the show. Hello, all. I wish they had not stopped releasing Archer on disc. I have not seen the last few seasons. I didn't know that. That's kind of a shame. I'm sure that they're going to do it, or, go to the sketchier cons and you'll find a bootleg, I'm sure. Not that you should do that. That's wrong. Do not buy bootleg material.
No.
Yeah, so Snowpiercer based on the 2013 movie. It's a big hit for TNT. Honestly, I was not that big a fan of the movie, so I haven't seen the series.
Me either.
Meanwhile, I did really enjoy the movie. It wasn't the best. Also, again, if you've been around me at all, post-apocalyptic is my digs. And this one was okay. I liked it. There was effort put into it. Wasn't my favorite, but hey, it led to a show.
It led to a show, and speaking of digs, it stars Daveed Diggs. So
I know.
that was a good one. And also Jennifer Connelly. So
really,
yeah. I mean, solid cast, but
yeah.
Never got me.
Haven't tried it yet, Rodney. Because of course I would have so many feelings with it being Snowpiercer, with it being post-apocalypse. stick na.
Well, you should before it gets into too many more seasons, because then it'll be a lot of catch up. Because there's only 2 out now, and season 3 just finished, so you could get the first 2 seasons in under your belt before season 3 drops.
Do they have a release date for it?
Sounds like a good.
They probably have a release date for season 3. It's not in this article because the article is more about the fact that they picked up season 4. Let me see if I can really quickly scroll down. No, they've got a roundup of what the season 3 plot is going to be about, but I do not know. Anyway, moving on to another renewal.
Yeah.
The Netflix series Sweet Tooth, which, if you haven't seen our review of it, go to YouTube and look up Sweet Tooth. It was one of our full fat spoiler chats just a little while ago. Has been picked up for a second season, which is good because boy did they leave it on a lot of open questions at the end of the first season.
I still need to watch it.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You go ahead, Byron.
I still need to watch it.
It's a good series. It's a really different and interesting take on sort of a post-apocalypse, story, with excellent actors. It was for me a bit up and down on pacing and structure, but still I liked it a lot, and it's worth watching for sure.
How many episodes is it?
You put me on the spot. Not a ton.
There's not a huge amount. It's because every one is like like 35 to 45 to 55 to so it's pretty full. So if you get 12 to 13 to 14, that is full.
Yeah, I think it's actually 10 episodes, but I'm not. 8. The series, which will return for another 8-part run.
There we go.
8 series.
It's
or 8 episodes.
If you are again like me, you're like a die-hard post-utopian, post-apocalyptic, and it gives you some reasons, but not enough to know exactly everything. It's a burn. Even if it's a slow burn, even if it's a burn where you're like, oh my God, there's a lot of teenagers in here. No offense to all the teenagers that may be watching. You guys honestly are the catalysts. But my old ass is like, can I get it back to when we're just riding the railroads like hobos? Come on. I'm completely in it for all of these adventures that have been happening. And all these adventures that have been happening, they're really good, and so I'm excited for the next one. And I don't know, I think that full fat spoiler chat covered it last time.
Covered the first season, yes,
and I hope they do again. I'd like to be on it because it really won me over.
We probably will, because those of us that were on it, I know it was me and Manny, and I'm trying to remember who else is on it, enjoyed the show. All right, speaking of announcements and, well, actually, this isn't a renewal, but it is a date announcement, and that is the upcoming Hawkeye series on Disney+. We have finally found out we'll get to see it starting Wednesday, November 24th. If that's not, I know you're not supposed to give presents on Thanksgiving, but boy, that's a present.
Yes.
Very much looking forward to this.
Great way to start off your Christmas shopping season.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, really? Okay.
So again,
how to make it work?
Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, but then Haley Steinfeld is playing Kate Bishop. If you're not familiar with Kate Bishop, the young Avenger that took up the mantle of Hawkeye in the comics when Hawkeye was actually dead for a while. It's comics, that stuff happens. I'm just so much looking forward to this. Pizza Dog is going to be in it. This is very clearly based on the Matt Fraction version of Hawkeye. You know, a very Daredevil-esque fighting crime in the streets of New York, mostly storylines, with occasional kicks up into AIM and Hydra and so on.
And if you are not really, if you don't know who Haley Steinfeld is, but maybe you've seen that, kind of different Transformer movie that's called Bumblebee.
Oh, you mean the good one?
Yes.
Really good one that has heart and actually has like real people doing real things.
And they actually look like Transformers?
Shh, I'm talking. So, and then and we get our girl who's literally like, just because she's got to get up and go to her job at like making a smoothie cart thing with a hot dog. And she is just real. And she's Haley Steinfeld. And she is the one who is and will wake up, and not only just wake up. She's not just some, no offense to Megan Fox, we really like you. But she is going to literally tune and bring Bumblebee back to life.
Yes.
And if you didn't know her before, she was in Dirk Gently, literally also keeping our heroes.
Oh, and don't forget the remake of True Grit.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Correct.
Yes. Which is one of the best remakes I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
So
if anybody was going to make that and do it right, it was the Coen brothers.
Yep. So we stand Haley Stanfield.
Steinfeld.
Thank you. We stand Haley Steinfeld. And it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this will lead to Jimmy Renner's Clint Barton getting his eardrums blown out like in the comics.
If they stick to the Matt Fraction stuff, it should.
Yes.
It would be very interesting because, Fraction then basically just went right down that path. It's like, okay, you've now got a hero. He's not a superhero, but you've now got a crime-fighting hero who is deaf, or mostly deaf. How do you deal with that? And that was just a great part of that whole storyline.
Yes. And like they never went back on it, which is is one thing I really love.
Right. All right, moving on. Now we get into rumor. This is pretty much a single source rumor, but it's coming from Deadline, which is pretty good about this sort of stuff. And they're saying that they've heard that Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish are in talks to star in a remake of Haunted Mansion. And I guess, with Disney's latest ride into movie Jungle Cruise making a decent amount of money, doing well for them, winning the box office.
Jungle
Cruise?
Yes.
No, I did watch it.
Okay. I haven't yet.
Neither have I.
That's one that I don't particularly have any interest in going to the theater or ponying up an extra $30 to see on Disney Plus. But anyway, so the rumor is they're making Haunted Mansion because, either Jungle Cruise did really well and they want to make more money off their ride movies, and or Pirates reboot has taken too long, or somebody's got to correct what happened with the Eddie Murphy version. So,
I gotta be honest. I'm not sure I want this. One, because I'm not the biggest Tiffany Haddish fan to begin with.
I love her.
I mean, I know people love her. It's just like, is a lot of people in my community tend to like her low caliber comedy, and I mean she's definitely proved that she's a very solid actress on her own. I just hope that it's not like she doesn't play into the stereotypes, I guess.
Well, it's Disney, so she'll be doing whatever Disney tells her.
And I think we may see that, considering that, heyo, I did watch Jungle Cruise because a lot of times my lovely husband goes to sleep at 10 a.m. because he gets up at 5, and I'm there being like, let me just lay here and I'll watch something fun and something will happen and I'll get to sleep before 3 a.m., right? So Jungle Cruise, I was like, oh, it's The Rock and Emily Blunt and some other dude. How bad could it be? Oh,
Feel free to write a review.
I
Um,
I'd honestly I'd be delighted to. So I can talk about you, not you. I can talk about that to you tomorrow because it was a hot something. But also, if this is the whole kind of way, because I was like, oh, I remember this one. This was the super racist one. They said they'd changed completely. All right, you know what? Let's just give it a watch. See if they changed it. Oh, and then I'm like, why am I still watching? Oh no, fine. Anyway,
yeah, so that's Jungle Cruise. That's not the topic. So we'll we're moving on to our next topic, which is so this is a bit of casting news that is 100% confirmed, and it's kind of surprising that it came really quickly after the announcement that the series itself was happening. Delroy Lindo has been cast as Mr. Nancy in the upcoming Amazon series based on Neil Gaiman's book Anansi Boys. I love Delroy Lindo. I think he's amazing. I think the very first thing I saw him in was Get Shorty. And right out of the gate, I was like, this guy's got it. And when we first reported on this, I speculated a little bit about whether or not Orlando Jones was going to be, even in consideration for, the role, because he played Mr. Nancy as that character is defined in American Gods for 2 seasons, and then left badly. Lots of drama and so on. He tweeted out a beautiful congratulations to Delroy Lindo on landing this casting, and kudos. He has nothing to do with the show at this point. Kudos to Orlando Jones for being that big.
Oh yes, class act.
But yeah, I'm even more looking forward to this series than I was before.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo was definitely one of the 2 best parts of Congo for me. So, yeah. Tim Curry being the second.
He's done a lot of really good stuff.
He's a great character actor.
And, he's done some movies.
Delroy Lindo is an absolute phenomenal character actor, and I feel like he will bring a lot of that same energy to the trickster god Anansi that I fell in love with in the book, in the American Gods book. And
so he is Anansi.
Yes,
he will be playing. Well, so yeah, he is actually Anansi. His character is Mr. Nancy, and his sons don't know that their dad was in fact the spider god Anansi until he dies.
I read the books, and I also used to co-run an RP forum. Yes, of things. Women took the male characters, men's is, and of course this was gender. Could take the lady characters, but I remember and forget. But I remember Anansi being like one of like the big bigs of all of this with American Gods.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now, again, this is the book Anansi Boys, or Anansi Boys, so it is a separate story, and technically this version of Mr. Nancy isn't necessarily the same version as in American Gods, but they're both written by Neil Gaiman, and they both feature, a humanoid version of Anansi called Mr. Nancy, so they're pretty clearly, the same character if they don't share the same universe.
I'm really hoping that Delroy Lindo brings in a lot of energy from the character from the book, where he's written more as like a salty old man who is just like done with everyone's BS and just smokes cigarillos all day, and he's just like, All my sons have sheet for brains.
I mean, I'd take that also, but do you feel like that's also a totally like racial cliche?
I could see that being a racial cliche, but considering the fact, I feel like Delroy Lindo would definitely make that character far more dignified than a white British man could ever personify in his writing style.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing clearly a character who is an African immigrant into England, so
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm assuming he's going to play it properly, and I don't know that anybody would accuse Gaiman of writing a racial stereotype. So
Yes.
No, I don't think so either. And this y'all just said this is also Gaiman, right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, very much looking forward to this. And just as a complete aside, one of my absolute favorite duos that never became anything other than what they were was the two detectives in Gone in 60 Seconds, Delroy Lindo and Timothy Oliphant.
Yes.
If they made a movie about those two guys, I would watch that on repeat. Best thing about, way better than Nicolas Cage.
I mean,
Almost
sorry.
as good as Vinnie Jones as Sphinx, but nothing to do with this movie. So, time to move on. Lots of book adaptations in this news, folks. Lots of news about book adaptations. And the first one is yet another Octavia Butler adaptation. They are hitting, like moths to a flame now. Octavia Butler's book Fledgling has been ordered to series already, like direct to series by HBO. Issa Rae and J.J. Abrams will be the executive producers. And apparently the showrunners or writers are Sonia Winton Odamten and Jonathan I. Kidd. I don't know what their backgrounds are. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't see anything that I recognize a whole lot in their backgrounds in this article, but I love this concept. Fledgling is a sci-fi vampire novel.
Oh.
So, yeah, sign me up.
Now, is this going for more of an Afrofuturism type story, or?
I don't know exactly what the setting is to qualify it as a sci-fi vampire story, but it's Butler, so one assumes that the African-American experience will be very important and strong to the story.
Yeah, because that's one piece that's one piece of like pop culture I don't see a lot of representation in from like Black authors. Like they tend to I've seen more focus on like fantasy and historical lore, but I want to see like more. I want to see more Black writers propel the community towards the future in one way or another.
And it, at this point, reading, but like just beyond what Ronnie just said, there really isn't any much more information to take you any further, but speculation is beautiful.
Yeah. Now, they do say a little bit about the story in here, which is the most anime thing I think I've heard that's not an anime. It's a story of an apparently amnesiac young girl whose alarmingly inhuman needs and abilities lead her to a startling conclusion. She is, in fact, a genetically modified 53-year-old vampire.
Oh, Bowser's.
And I'm like, didn't I watch that anime a few years ago? I mean, just, that really sounds like an anime.
I mean,
which isn't a bad thing.
At you, friend. I'm like literally. Wait, am I above Byron?
No, you're below Byron. In the street. So there you
go. I was just gonna say, can you keep? I was gonna say, does she keep her looks though? And also, yes, Black does not crack.
Tickle, 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 tickle. But now I'm just like, ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Black doesn't crack.
Well, yeah, particularly if you're a vampire. So,
Just saying.
Oh no, I was gonna say I've never seen, but I have seen you eat many times prior to shows. So, yeah,
I like my burgers bloody.
There you go. Just ordered to series. No idea when this will happen. Probably 2023. But and if Abrams is just executive producing, hopefully he'll have nothing to do with the actual structure.
Right.
In which case we'll be all good.
Yes, don't touch it. Don't touch this. Do not.
All right, moving on to our next topic. The next book series, which in this case is going to be turned into a movie and probably more, is the much more recent Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire. I think the first book is Every Heart a Doorway. Let me get where am I? There we go. There are the first 3 books in what is now a 6-book series. So it is the story of Eleanor West's School for Wayward Children, a boarding school for people who have returned home from magical fantasy worlds and have trouble readjusting to their old lives.
Ooh.
Again, that would be a great isekai anime.
I would eat that up as an anime.
I completely read this and now where'd it?
Yeah, I have not read any of these. I know that this series is currently up for in the current Hugo Award nominations as Best Series. And to be honest, I had never even heard of the author until I saw a tweet by John Scalzi about how he's up against her series for his Old Man's War series.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, but apparently these are really popular books, very much award-winning or at least award-nominated. The first book won both the Hugo and the Nebula Award back in 2016. Yeah, so... Oh, and apparently she's a comic book writer. Has written Spider-Gwen and X-Men.
Is this the one with the horse?
No, this is not the one with the horse. We'll be getting to the story with the horses later, folks.
All right.
So yeah, this is being Paramount. So we don't know for sure whether or not these movies will go straight to like Paramount Plus or whether they're going to be developed as release movies. My guess is release movies because Paramount so far hasn't done a lot of just for streaming type movies.
Wayward Children?
Yes, Wayward Children is the name of the series. First book is Every Heart a Doorway.
Well, it definitely sounds fascinating. Whatever comes with, I am totally on board.
So I'm going to blast through the next couple of topics because the last 3 or 4 are probably going to take some discussion. Certainly the last 3 will, and we're getting pretty late already. So I don't know why this is a thing. Somebody thinks it's a good idea to make a TV series based on Waterworld that will be a sequel to the 1995 Kevin Costner movie. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it was I was underwhelmed. I think you could do it. People like mermaids, people like water stuff. It was bad. There was, Dennis Hopper on this bicycle and going, hey, it was like all based, like it was Waterworld, but it was still based on gasoline, which they didn't even call it guzzling. Come on.
I mean, get Tina Mangerino involved, then maybe we'll have something.
Who?
There wasn't enough.
The little girl.
Oh, the little girl.
Yeah, exactly. There was nowhere near enough adaptations of what happened as the world became to water, right?
Right.
We should have had a lot more. It could have gone somewhere. You want to bring it back?
And as a series, maybe they can explore an awful lot about the world and where it came from, how it got where it is, and so on, as opposed to just trying to create this what has to be a super deep lore and then just cram a really crappy jet ski action movie on it.
Oh.
But so no real details, obviously, because they just announced it. It is Universal is working on it. So
But your mileage may vary on that concept.
I'll have a lot to say regardless.
Yeah, Universal, didn't exactly do that well with the whole MonsterVerse thing, the Dark Universe. We'll have to see. All right. Here's the horse books, as Gogo called them. So yet another adaptation is in the work. The huge fantasy book series by Mercedes Lackey, the Valdemar universe, is being turned into a TV series by the producers of Jumanji, Radar Pictures. And particularly, it's these books that are on the screen here, Magic's Pawn, Magic's Promise, and Magic's Price, which deal with his last name, or his first name begins with V, Vaniel, who is one of the very first openly gay heroic protagonists in traditional fantasy fiction. And his story, he gets persecuted, abused by his noble family, finds acceptance, where he is chosen by the companion Ifandes, and Ifandes is a magical horse-like being that brings out the magical potential in whoever they bond with as a companion. So that's why the horse images are in there.
Okay, spoiler alert for anybody out there who may not understand how gay works. The gay human being plus magical horse companion, that works. However, someone is gay. If they're gay, lesbian, bigender, pansexual, etc., agender, asexual, horse, you got it. It's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Yes. And it's a very long-running series, too. Like, the most recent book was written in 2018.
Yeah. 30-something books?
Yeah.
In the series. And in the timeline of the series, these are some of the earliest stories. This character, Vaniel, is actually a legendary hero in later stories. Which is wonderful that, again, this trilogy takes, a legendary hero that's in the books that were written before, but set in a much further time, and then goes, oh yeah, by the way, he was, a persecuted gay man. And
Great.
is still the biggest legendary hero in, this world. So.
Yes, but like I love any kind of narrative that breaks away from like heteronormative hyper masculine protagonists. Like, give me more of that. Give me Steven Universe. Give me this. Give me, characters that don't just solve their problems with their fist or their blades or whatnot.
Yep. Although, to be honest, if you look at the covers, he solves a fair number of problems with magic and blades.
Well, yeah,
But-
I mean,
May also be talking a little bit about JoJo, which not all of us gays appeal to in other reasons. No.
I'm a bit of a JoJo fan.
Not trying to get, of course, just saying.
But anyway, so just announced that this Jumanji production company, Radar Pictures, is adapting it. It has not landed on a home yet. So I'm assuming they're going to be shopping it around. The company was founded by Ted Field, who was one of the executive producers on the current Wheel of Time series on Amazon. So maybe it'll land on Amazon, but we don't know.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm guessing somebody's going to pick this up, and it may be one of the services that does not have its own vast universe of fantasy stuff, whereas Amazon currently has Wheel of Time and the Middle-earth series. So
Yeah, they definitely have their hands full.
Yeah, so it may wind up somewhere else. But
I also wouldn't want it to go to like um Disney Plus, because again, I just watched that, what was it called, Jungle Cruise,
yeah,
where again one of the main characters was gay, but there was also like every trope.
yeah. This doesn't strike me as well. First off, I don't know that Disney buys stuff that's already been pitched. You know, they do everything internal, as far as I know. And this doesn't really strike me as up Disney's wheelhouse.
No, I don't know, and I don't know if I want Netflix touching it, because it could be a bloody masterpiece, and Netflix, for whatever reason, could cancel it, and since Netflix doesn't really release its numbers, we could never know how well it actually did in the ratings.
Well, but having said that, the person writing the adaptation, or one of the people writing the adaptation, is Kit Williamson, who created the Netflix comedy series Eastsiders, which is an LGBTQ plus comedy series.
Nice.
So, might land on Netflix. But anyway, we got to move along.
All right,
Got to race along here. We'll keep you updated on this one, because this is actually pretty important, both from a fantasy literature fan standpoint and obviously representation. Now, while the character isn't gay, I'm sure that an awful lot of people who are on that particular definition of themselves were very keen to see this latest teaser trailer for Shang-Chi, where we get to see Simu Liu completely shirtless right at the beginning, which is played wonderfully as a joke, because Aquafina, who plays his friend, is yelling up at him as he's in this cage match thing that we've seen in previous teasers or trailers. Why aren't you wearing a shirt? And this is his reaction. Huh? He's like, I don't know. It's a short teaser trailer. It's like a little under a minute. It expands a little bit on some of the action scenes, but not a lot. You're not going to learn anything more about the whole story watching this. You just get to see a little bit more of some really cool fights. So.
And as for someone like me who's known about them since I was probably like age 6 or 7, but forgot so much along the way, you coming back to it and being like, wow, this is so much more posh and like okay, straightforward than what I knew. But also, I like to think, again, when you bring Aquafina into something, and you bring like a guy as cool as whatever his name.
Simu Liu.
Thank you.
There you go.
Our guy from, again, to me, he's always going to be the older brother.
Right, from Kim's Convenience, right?
Yeah, from Kim's Convenience. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you bring that in, you're always going to get some kind of really just correct, kind of just not even off the wall, just like you're just going to get that kind of like gay banter.
Yeah. And in some of the comedy bits that they've shown in here, in various teasers and trailers, it looks like they play off each other really well.
And I love that. And that doesn't mean any of them are or aren't. You go look that up, and who cares what they say? It's their privacy. But whatever they put out there on the screen to make it accessible, that's for us. You know what? So that's great. And I so appreciate it. And I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
Me too. I can't wait.
I'm so...
all right, moving on. And by the way, just in case you haven't seen every single bit of information about this and know for sure, this drops September 3rd.
Getting close.
Right around then, that weekend. Yeah, it doesn't say in this article. Well, that's silly of you. I should have had this brought up, folks. But anyway, it drops in early September, so you get to see it then. Now, this news. So last week we had the news that the trailer for season 13 of Doctor Who dropped, and it looked really interesting. And then literally just a couple of days later, the announcement was, yep, this is going to be Jodie Whittaker's last season and showrunner Chris Chibnall's last season on Doctor Who. So, let the speculation begin, folks, because that seems to be what happens. It's what I did as soon as I heard. It's like, ooh, who's going to be the next Doctor?
I just hope it's not another cis white dude.
I agree. I really hope they continue the trend towards diversity that happened with the casting of Jodie Whittaker. Yes. Whether it's a man of color, a woman of color, a woman as opposed to a cis white dude, anything, please keep it diverse. Keep the diversity growing.
I mean, we could get Neil Gaiman to be the showrunner, but that's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, so folks, I put out there, if the BBC wanted to just throw all the money, if they wanted to throw Disney money, get Neil Gaiman to be the showrunner, and then get Helen Mirren to play a sort of
Gods, yes,
Jodie Whittaker meets Peter Capaldi, grumpy old sexpot Doctor Who.
Yes.
I cannot say. I come at you with Richard Ayoade from the old school UK IT crowd.
Yep.
He is.
Ooh, yes, March, right?
Yeah.
From
yeah, the main character whose name I can't.
Yes. Okay, so he is correct. He is quirky like 12 was, but completely different, because you can't put quirky in a box at all. And he is so brilliant. We know he is. And his wit is so kind. And he has that like weird, like, how did you not know this? But it's like so kind. It's not biting. I had problems with Capaldi. Sorry about it. I really did.
Yeah, he was. I love Peter Capaldi. His Doctor was not my favorite at all.
Not at all mine. 10th is still mine. 11th.
Oh yes,
10th. My husband. 12th, we were like, we'll hold hands and be like, maybe we can make it work it out if we go to therapy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it was always more 4 and 10.
Yeah.
And 9. Like in hindsight, has grown on me more because Christopher Eccleston is just such a phenomenal actor. But yes, I
really is. But it hurts knowing he hated playing that part. And so Jodie Whittaker also being in a new place at a new time with all those new things and just being like, this is a dream come true. And I am not walking on that yellow brick road. I'm walking on some other road that's like, what is this? What are these? Like chalky pebbles? Like, all those things. I wish her the best. And if I can't get Richard Ayoade, also, I know it's been asked, like it has been for Bond, but we all want Idris Elba.
Or Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I can see Ejiofor more than I can see Idris Elba. Not that I don't love both of them as actors. I just, Luther, that's going to be a tough one to translate from Luther to Doctor Who.
I could see him as the Master, though.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we can absolutely talk about that. Also, help me with the name of the gentleman who played, who was in The Good Place.
I know who you're talking about.
Edie Adgonye. What was the actor's name?
Can't remember.
Perfect.
My bad. Luminous, shut your dirty mouth. I remember, this is Luminous, I remember when David Hasselhoff was rumored to be the next Doctor.
Oh, Christ.
I'm assuming you're making that up.
No.
If you're not, send me a link. Otherwise, I'm going to have to slap you the next time I see you.
I have one more suggestion.
Luminous' line.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Ooh. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Again, kind of serious, but I can see it. But we got to move on, folks. We really have to.
It's time.
All right. The next bit of news is, you've all seen it there, folks. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney and Marvel over
Disney.
the combined day-date release of Black Widow in theaters and on the streaming platform Disney Plus. Disney responded pretty terribly. A kind of a shockingly tone-deaf response. But as was pointed out by a number of people in our group where we post these news articles, this is not anything particularly new for Disney. Disney, A, goes directly for the jugular when they feel that they need to.
Always.
And B, my initial reaction to this was like, she is suing because her contract, she believes they're in violation of a contract by having the Disney Plus release because it was not going to give her the promised amount of residuals, essentially, from the actual box office revenue. And the description that I've read is that this was, an agreement. Well, that's not a contract. But having said that, Greg pointed out that Disney at this point is pretty well known for not honoring contracts. The Alan Dean Foster controversy, where they still refuse to pay him the royalties that he is contractually obligated to get for his adaptation of Star Wars books, or Star Wars movies into books. So
I mean, you can go. This goes as far back as the Jeffrey Katzenberg and Robin Williams debacle, where they had an agreement where he did not want his voice being used for merchandise. I mean, Katzenberg has long since been removed from the company, but this is, again, Disney does what Disney wants to do.
Right. So we'll see how this plays out. It's a legit suit. You can read, if you go to any of the articles, that they will usually have a link to the actual, filed lawsuit. But the Disney response was, I can't believe, essentially, I can't believe that you would bring, this up, encouraging people to go to theaters, during the COVID pandemic.
And, oh my gosh, look. And again, I said this in our group, and it's not the most educated about clicking and reading through it. And again, I understand how all this works. When I first saw it, I thought, heck yeah, because I remembered I've been doing this show a long time, and I do remember 2, 3, 4 years ago when we talked about it. It would be like Rodney be like, and tonight on our topic is, and it'd be like, the ScarJo movie, it'd be like, it would be there, it would be like Black Widow, and it's coming. Oh no, it's not. Or it'd be like, oh, and Black Panther gets whoop again, and she's now pitched to go back into 2020, from whatever she was. I mean, I feel like we first started talking about this in like, what was it, like 19, 20? No, not 19. Like 2017, 2019.
I think the movie was initially officially set to happen, as opposed to all of the stuff that they were talking about, all the way back in 2016.
That I know it was such a long time ago, and I knew we'd been talking about it on this show forever, and it's like, that's so great. And again, our conversation about it changed course, because it was like, okay, we even started talking about this before the first Wonder Woman came up, and it's like, well, Marvel, it's about time. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, Wonder Woman. Oh, well, Wonder Woman just said that, yes, of course, you can do a whole modern femme-led action movie with your femme character. and then it was like, okay, well, it's gonna come out, it's gonna come out, it's gonna come out. Oh, we have to hold it now again. I'm making a funny face because that's how I feel. Okay. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'd love for her to sue because I don't know anything about this, but if I signed on back in the day before like the COVID was the whole thing, and they were like, "Yeah, we'd love to put you out there, but we just don't know there's the audience." So I don't know.
Yeah, but if they put this movie out when they first proposed it coming out at the height of the COVID lockdown, she would have gotten nothing, because there would have been nobody to see it at all.
Exactly.
She would have gotten her $20 million payday, which is another thing, by the way. They put out her actual payday, which they never do. This stuff is never talked about. And Disney said, you got paid $20 million, and, we really feel bad that you want to encourage people to, go and get sick during COVID, which is a pretty shitty way of describing the situation.
So dumb.
Right. But if they had, in fact, released it back last November, when I think was the last time before they kicked it into the spring, she would have made nothing. Or no additional beyond the 20 million. Now that isn't saying that she clearly doesn't have a leg to stand on. If they did in fact renegotiate the contract to include something about the multiple release platforms, and they aren't honoring that contract, then 100% sue the pants off them.
I know. And again, I'm going to say right now, guys, I just have righteous honor for a gal whose character was like, look, Marvel was like, oh, I don't know, can we do it? Yes, yeah, we all want her. We all want her. We all would love just a Dora Milaje movie.
Yes.
Please.
Like, come
Or
on.
series.
Or series.
Oh yeah, or series. That'd be so good, right? But you teased us as Black Widow was happening. We know she signed on because we all talked about it that long ago. And it kept going and it just kept going. It kept going. And when I saw those headlines, it was like, ScarJo sues because I was thinking, because it was supposed to happen in 2016 before Endgame, right? So you got the backstory, spoilers, backstory of some things that she did before Endgame where certain things happened with her character.
I don't think you have to worry about spoiling Endgame at this point, but all right.
My bad super theatrical list makes it a little bit more difficult for me to be understood. Point is, I get it. Also, dang.
All right. We'll keep you informed, folks, about where this goes. There's obviously back and forth happening here, so, we'll see. The last topic, folks, is something, it's going to be much shorter. We're going to wrap this up pretty quickly, but it's also super cool for those of us that are super fans. That's not it, because we just did that. This is the first and only, so far, image that we have seen from the upcoming Amazon series based on Tolkien's works, set in Middle-earth, except this isn't set in Middle-earth, and we'll get to that, that is going to premiere, like, almost exactly a month, folks. September 2nd, a year and a month. September 2nd, 2022.
Oh my God.
Is when we're going to see the first season. They don't have a title yet. But what you're looking at there is kind of confusing. Because the series is set in the Second Age, and it basically tells the story of how the Rings of Power and the One Ring were created through, let's just say, subterfuge by Sauron. What you're looking at here are the two trees that were destroyed in the first age, and were, you know, the lights of Valinor, which is the Undying Lands, the lands to the west, which is where Bilbo and everybody sailed off to at the end of the Lord of the Rings. Well, those that sailed off. Which is the land of the Valar, essentially the gods of Middle Earth, or of Arda. Because again, Middle Earth is the piece in the middle, and Valinor is the piece to the west. So, you know, the first image they show us of a series set smack dab in the middle of the Second Age, telling the most important thing that happened in the Second Age, you know, the crafting of the Rings of Power and the One Ring, is not set in the Second Age. It's set thousands of years before that, not even in Middle Earth, in Valinor, you know, the Undying Lands. So
don't look at this article that has been linked to us in our thing, because it'll
no.
It'll
take you to a lot of jewelry links.
Deadline? Okay. So you must be bringing up stuff from whatever. Anyway, I'm finally we get to see something. Anyway, we at least get to see an image. And I'm really super looking forward to this. It kills me that we have to wait a year, but it'll be worth the wait.
I'm sure it will be.
All right, folks, on that note, that's it. Thank you all for joining us. Anybody, if you have a real quick, could we please or could we not? Anybody?
Could we please continue to hold these gaming companies more accountable for such gross practices such as microtransactions, especially in the wake of Pokemon Unite?
I'm going to change that to could we please start? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, is holding these companies, you know, taking these companies to task. We're just sucking up the games, sucking up the microtransactions, and, you know, and buying the games of literal sexual predators. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's because we got into a point now where it's become normalized.
Yes.
And to quote Jim Sterling, we're going to get to a point where like kids will think that this is just a normal part of games.
Right.
And that's not okay.
Agreed 100%. Like I said, quick. Another one? Anybody? Okay. Folks, thank you all for joining us in the chat. Byron, give us a goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Check me out on Instagram, BD0Art. That's BDZEROART. And also on YouTube, Byron D0, BYRONDZERO. Bye.
Awesome. Go, give us a goodbye.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito, and you can find me doing so many things on Instagram right now at Gogo_Incognito, and on TikTok. I have to remember to say that. So new. Anyway, it's so good. At TikTok, Gogo_Incognito. Also, Simone Biles is still the GOAT.
Yes.
Here, 100%. All right, folks, stay safe. Get vaccinated if you're not. Wear that mask. Stop the Delta spread. Please, please, please. And hopefully we'll see you at some cons. If you have a chance to visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/nerdcaliber, it's up on your screen right there. Check it out. We'd love to have your support. Just a couple of tiers, both pretty low dollar. And that's where you can help us get to more cons and, you know, maybe buy some extra masks because we're probably going to need them. Thank you, folks. We will see you this coming Thursday. Is going to be full fat spoiler chat on Masters of the Universe Revelations, the new Netflix animated series. If you have seen it, or if you don't mind spoilers, please join us. But it is full fat spoiler chat, so we're going to spoil the heck out of it.
Good.
And I still haven't picked a topic for Anime Octane for next Monday. Darn it. Byron, put a suggestion in on the teams, and we'll see if we can come up with something.
I will do that.
All right. Thank you, folks. Have a safe night. Bye-bye.